Hello, everybody. Today we'll be talking about bonuses and rewarding systems. To do so, we have interviewed two CEOs. The first one being the CEO of Mazer, which is a company specialized in providing tools and machinery for the stone industry. And the second CEO being the one of the Inula Group, which is a pharmaceutical company. After, we will be handling an internal debate, and we hope you enjoy it.
So next question. Can you describe your bonus reward system?
Okay, in our company, everybody has a bonus and reward system. The method of this bonus and reward system is like we have to arrive minimum turnover. It means that we earn money. This is the first thing that we have to achieve. Second, we have different type of bonus. One it's for the salesperson, and the other one is for the administration department. For the salesperson, it's when they sell the objectives that we see at the beginning of the year. They have to achieve to these sales. Also, the company has to arrive at minimum turnover, and they earn that bonus for this achievement. And also, the difference between the administration department is that they have like quality bonus system. It depends on the quality of their work, depends on the for example, the operations department depends on the how many clients we have and how many shipments we have in a year, how many mistakes they do. So it's a different type of bonus depending on the department that they have. Also the warehouse, also they have a bonus. It's a different type of bonus depending on the apartment you are.
Okay, it's very clear.
Okay, so what is your opinion on the use of the financial incentives to motivate your employees?
I think when we have workers here, we have a relationship, so they have to feel that it's their own company also, because with this feel they work more happy. So one of the things is that I always say that we exchange work with money. So they give us their work and we give them money. So also we said when they do something good, we also congratulate them and say that you're doing this very well, you have to continue with this. But the only way I think a company can reward an employee, it's with money. Okay. Because this is not friendship relationship. This is it's a relationship that it's not just a friendship. It's the only way I think you can reward a person, because it's an exchange.
Yes, I understand. It's a perfectly viable explanation, actually. So I perfectly understand.
This is our way of thinking. I don't know if we are right, but this is our way of thinking. Also, we have difficult situations right now with the COVID, and people that were working for 10 hours a day, because we have some people that were working for 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, helping us, trying to recover all the things that were happening. I told them that we are going to give them money at the end of the year, because we appreciate very much what they have done. So I think it's the only way we can reward people, it's with money.
First question, could you please explain us a little bit your rewarding system?
Yes, we have a rewarding system that is based on two different elements. There is, of course, a financial reward system and a non-financial one. The financial one depends on the position of the different people that are concerned, and it can range a lot. There is a short-term incentive system and there is a long-term incentive system. The short-term incentive system is based on the performance. And the performance can be quarterly or annual, and it depends really on the different categories of people. For example, it's typically related to some key KPIs that the person can control. So it can be the revenues generated in the sector, can be the margin on the sales of the sector, can be on the EBITDA, can be on the new clients, can be for somebody working in shipping on the productivity of the shipping department, and so on and so forth. So that's the short-term incentive plan. Then there is a long-term financial incentive plan. So to a limited group of managers and directors, we offer the possibility to participate in the company, so in the capital of the company, and benefit from the value creation once it's going to be sold. And that's basically it's a classic management incentive plan that is based on buying ordinary shares and receiving warrants based on the performance.
I see. That's really interesting, and thank you very much for this concise explanation. Now the second question. Could you give us your professional and personal opinion on the use of non-financial incentives to try to motivate employees to give their best?
Yeah. So I talked about the financial incentives. Of course, there are the non-financial ones. The non-financial one, the importance of the non-financial ones depends on the person. It depends on the drivers of motivation. Each one of us is different. For some, is more important the financial. For some, is more important the non-financial. But I think both of them are key. In terms of non-financial ones, it's very varied. It starts with creating an environment in which the person work that is it's very appealing, so that it's enriching, that they can learn and they can develop. So that's one element. Then there are plenty of other elements. Career progression is important, offering perspectives. Of course, it's easier in a company or a group of companies that grow because you create a new positions that in a business that it's shrinking. We give a lot of value as well for experience. So it can be fun experiences or it can be work experiences. The fun experiences, of course, we organize sometimes trips, team buildings, events that can be limited to the department or they can be offered to the entire company. It might seem simple, but having the annual party where half of the employees they join together and they can mingle and have fun is highly valued. Otherwise, they are also team buildings and activities related for a single department. And then there is, of course, the career progression and participating in different projects. For example, now we are in the middle of changing the ERP, and some junior people that have no exposure to IT were selected as key users, and for them is a major incentive to discover a new area and be part of defining the future IT structure of the group.
I see. I perfectly understand what you're saying. And what do you think? Is it most effective to use financial ones or non-financial? What is your?
I think you need a combination of both of them, because only one is not enough. I think the financial is important because at the end of the day, the people need to have a good remuneration package that allows them to satisfy their needs and their ambitions. On the other side, it's not enough just to pay.
Okay, so based on the two interviews that we saw with the CEOs, we wanted to discuss it as a group, analyze it, and go through the financial incentives and the non-financial ones through the forms of questions. And so first, we wanted to start with a few key elements we thought were. One is that the point of view of the major CEO on financial incentives. specifying it's a business relationship and not a friendship one, meaning workers exchange their labor for company's money. So it's only logical that if they're performing well, they get rewarded with more money. And also we thought it was interesting how the salespeople are rewarded differently than the administrative people and the warehouse workers, with financial incentives all adapted to their line of work, so that it's the most efficient possible. And finally, another key trend we thought was interesting is how they're using short-term incentives in the second interview in Inula, compared to short-term incentives with the Mazer CEO. Meaning that, for example, in Mazer, the sales employees are rewarded accordingly to how the company's sales performed as a whole, which we can argue that there's less pressure for the employees to achieve the sales target. But on the other hand, you can mention the benefits of short-term incentives put in place by the Inula, saying that the employees are closely guided on with key KPIs on quarterly levels and helps them motivate them on a daily basis. After, we also wanted to compare the different financial incentives used by the two CEOs. So Gabriel, if you can develop a bit on that.
Yes, of course. So what I thought was interesting in interview number 1 at Mazer is that basically before getting a bonus, nonetheless like in which department you are, the entire company has to reach a certain turnover and get a certain profit. And so I thought it was really nice because all the bonuses are based on the overall performance of the company, which means that no matter in which department you are, you have to give your best, because after the only, let's say, value you'll be looking at is the final turnover and the final profit to hope to get after a bonus, no matter if you're in the warehouse, in administrative, or in the sales. After, in the second interview, what I thought was really nice is first this, all this engagement for the young workers and new generation with all the non-financial incentives, and the thing that he was saying of basically there are financials which are really important and that are basically almost like you cannot do without them for the to meet the needs of the employees. But that's for the managers, there was a special plan, and the special plan being that the managers can get equity and can get shares of the company as a bonus. And so as an effect, we thought that was really nice because to do that, they would only get the monetary value of it after 4 or 5 years, and they would only get a benefit on their bonus only if the company is going well and going better, if the value of the shares increases. So they are forced to stay in the company for the long term and to give their best all the time so that their bonus can yield as a form of profit when selling back their shares in several years. And I thought that that was really nice.
Perfect. Thank you, Gabriel. And then moving on to, we talked about financial incentives, and we also wanted to mention the non-financial incentives. So Matteo, if you can develop on why could financial incentives be interesting and effective compared to financial ones?
Yes, exactly. So there are many reasons of why non-financial incentives can actually be as effective and efficient as financial ones. And as we've seen in class, these reasons can be explained by Daniel Spink's puzzle of motivation, which includes 3 key elements, which are mastery, purpose, and autonomy. And if mastered correctly, these elements will allow the workforce to be super motivated. So we can say that in the second interview, the CEO had a more non-financial incentive approach. So basically what he did is he drives purpose by organizing team buildings and trips and activities. And at the same time, he also involves young workers and junior members to some important projects, hence driving mastery, since their incentive is now to be part of teams where they normally wouldn't be. While on the other hand, we can say that in the first interview, the first CEO's mindset was much more financially. She uses and she thinks that the only way to actually motivate employees is with financial incentives. So in this case, however, we can say that we also understand that it's hard to drive mastery within the administrative department or autonomy within the warehouse workers, since their job isn't really about making decisions, but it's about following the orders from the top. However, we can also say that for the sales department, the first CEO, it can be argued that the financial incentives are based on performance and therefore they drive purpose for the sales force.
Perfect, thank you very much. And finally, we also wanted to mention how non-financial incentives can work better in different contexts, in different industries, in different jobs, and also mention what non-financial incentives could be interesting to implement in the 2 different companies. So Pablo is going to conclude on that.
Yes, so it is different for each company and for each department in the company. For example, in company 1, it's hard to incentive these administratives apart from the financial incentives. So one way would be incentivizing this family feeling, making the employees feel like of the family, so they can do their best and contribute to this family feeling. One way company one does this is organizing dinners where all the workers from the company go. And one thing I heard from these dinners, commented by the employees, is that it's funny how they get to meet these people they've been talking to through their phones, and they now can put the face on them and get to know them. And this what does is reinforce this team spirit.
To conclude, we've realized after these two interviews and our internal discussions that basically implementing a rewarding system is quite difficult because it has to be accurate and you have to take into account a lot of metrics. But once it's well done, you can be able, by finding the right balance between financial and non-financials, you can be able to take the best of the employees and motivate them really the best you can to just continue grow and outperform themselves. Also, we've noticed, talking with the CEOs, that new generations are getting more and more interested into non-financial rewards that could increase their career performance and that could boost them in their career. So they prefer to get a bit less of money in terms of pure cash, but to see the prospects of career growth.